Okay, this video is for personal use. I'm simply archiving the progress of my personal 2D fighter. A lot of changes here. First off, I have two different screen packs. I have one that's very crazy, has a lot of clutter, has like the high wind in the background, scrolling logos for every respective character, and a banner that's on the top of the screen. It's just a lot more colorful and crazy looking. This is actually the version I prefer. It has very serious opera music in the background. It only has a feather motif or a falling feather motif, but you'll notice immediately it pays homage to the original, I think 97, either 97 or 95, but the original Final Fantasy VII game title screen. It's really beautiful. I actually went in and made what I call transitions. So whenever I click any mode or really anything, it does this zoom, which is pretty crazy. As you can see there, it zooms in and it zooms out, and then it's different according to whatever you select too, which is pretty awesome. Like this, as you can see there, it went into the materia. For this version of the screen pack, it uses my dark motif, which is basically the whole crew is going to be on the high wind. It's just going to have white noise in the background instead of music. And as you can see for the character select, it actually has the little glove cursor that is well, it's a really common thing on Final Fantasy VII, the original game, and I've always liked it. And it's complemented with the highlight, and the highlights are completely different. As you can see here, for the player 2, or rather the player 1 highlight, it's a blue light on whatever character you're over, and then for the player 2, as you can see, it's a completely different red light. And I thought that's a pretty awesome effect. And if you get on top of, or if you're selecting the same character, what it does is it gives you the actual, fully lit white character scheme, or it gives you a white light essentially, showcasing that both of the lights, as you can see here, are on top of each other. I thought that was a really neat effect that I created here. I've never seen anyone attempt to do it, so I wanted to pioneer it. It's really fascinating. I remember this is years ago too. I went on like Mugen forums, just different sites that had like communities of people who were like Mugen fans, and I gave them advice. I was just like, hey, like the stuff you guys are releasing is, first of all, it's low in resolution. We could push Mugen 2D fighting forward and do some pretty revolutionary stuff. And also, I said I was tired of seeing the same retro characters being ripped. It seems like whatever the AAA companies release, the Mugen community will rip their artwork and then create a character for it, following it already being released in a full game. And for me, that's kind of, it's bottom of the barrel or bottom feeding. It's just it's unpleasant. There's no, it's not interesting. There was actually a point in the Mugen community called the Mugen Renaissance, where there's just this emergence of really talented sprite artists or spiders who just started creating back to back just crazy Mugen characters. Stuff ranging from there was a character called Dragon Claw, which was pretty nuts, which was like this crazy character that was made in a 3D program, converted over to 2D, had slow motion, stuff like that. The the artists in general were a lot more crazy, man, just a lot more complex and more talented than what they are today. There's this character creator that everyone downloads, and actually people are actually making YouTube videos of the guy's work, but the character collection is called JUS, which is like 8-bit Game Boy looking sprites, which I called years ago too. I said, you know what? At the rate you guys are going, Mugen is going to die. It's going to degrade or regress into 8-bit characters only. And people like, nah, shut up. That doesn't make sense. That's not gonna happen. And look at us today. Now people are restricted to downloading and playing with low resolution, pixelized. It's just the characters are bad, man. It's just the sprites are bad. I've had this argument with people. I'm gonna select. I'm gonna pick my cloud here. I gotta showcase some changes I made recently. Hopefully that's his default color there. I'm gonna make him beat on guts. For my stage, I'm gonna go to Midgar Burns. So, I've had like like people trying to argue with me because it's the internet. Like most of the people on the internet are like horrible human beings. They're just there to take out anger. But I've had people actually try to argue with me and say that doing the low res sprite work, like the pixelated, crappy low res sprites, the 8-bit, 16-bit sprites, is a lot harder than doing HD full 2K character sprites. And that's insane, man. I can't even entertain that. But I found that to be hilarious that someone had like the nerve to say that to me. There's nothing difficult about making those simplified pixelated characters. I actually think this is way harder. You'll immediately notice a recent change I've made for specifically my cloud here is his intro. He's got a different, is that his default color? I can't excuse me. I can't tell if that's his default color. I'm just gonna back out here. I'm gonna come to the same stage. It should immediately load. It's running on an SSD card, but it's not my strongest SSD card, so it usually takes a minute for me to first time load a stage up. Oh, I didn't even mean to do that. All right. I think this is Cloud's default color here. Don't hold me to it. I think that's it. I want its default color so I can showcase something cool. All right, let's jump right back in. It's the same stage, so it should immediately load. Yeah, it immediately loaded. So that's his default colors. So you'll immediately notice the thing I did is I actually AI upscaled the intro for my Cloud Strife so that it matches resolution wise with my guts over there on the right. I initially made the very first character I made for this custom Mugen of mine was Final Fantasy VII Remake Cloud there on the left, and the second one I made is that Guts on the right. That Guts on the right, sprite wise for his intro, he was much higher resolution, but as you can see here, they're consistent now. The reason I chose to make this Mugen specifically is just I'm tired of seeing all these JUS characters, all these horribly these Super Nintendo looking characters in Mugen, man. We're capable of doing so much better. We can make Strive level characters like this. I even argue that my characters are better than Strive because my characters have gradients in the sprite work. But as you can see here for my cloud, for my recent changes, just that intro, there's another change that I made because both my characters are 100% asymmetrical, which means you can see both sides of the character. As you can see here, it's also working on the Z plane. I'm behind Guts there, and I can actually move in front of him here, as you can see there. And it's just simply tapping up or down to make them shift on different parts of the plane. It adds a whole new level to the 2D fighting aspect of the game. Aside from that, again, 100% 2D, or rather 100% asymmetrical, meaning as you can see here, you can see both sides of the character, which means I've actually sprited in both sides of the character for his movements and his attacks, which is it's rare. This is revolutionary. And then on top of that, a recent change that I've made for my characters, specifically my Cloud, really both of my characters. Keep in mind I'm I can control Guts too. Keep in mind I'm playing on one controller. I'm playing on a PS5 one controller, so it's very hard to control both of these characters at once. Wow, I did it. Okay, so you'll immediately notice here, if you look at Guts, if I can do that again. Okay, trying to do the transition. He has a stance change. There it goes. See, you got the stance change. And to do the stance change, you have to press. God dang it, I'm trying to do it back to back. Guts is really hard to stance change with, but I can do it with Cloud freely. With Cloud, as you can see here, he's got a stance change. All of my characters do. My entire roster is going to have this. And for the normal idle stance, which is this, it's a more relaxed idle stance. It takes longer for startup for attacks, but when you're in your stance change or your battle stance, which is what I call it, your attacks come out way quicker. As you can see here, they're much faster. There's less startup for all of the attacks. Certain characters gonna have what's called close proximity attacks. Like for Cloud, as you can see here, he's got a normal punch. This is his light punch, but when he's close, as you can see there, it changes into an elbow. And that close proximity is very important because it kills a lot of the startup, and also is their close proximity attacks opposed to the normal ranged ones, which is it's a must-have. Certain attacks have been modified, such as his fierce punch, which is actually a sword bash, as you can see there. But the kicker here
He can do a normal strike from far away like that, or if you're in close, his form of close proximity, which is a complex modification I made to the move, is that he knocks into the character and then he hits him, which makes it a 2-hit. Not only is it a 2-hit, but it removes the startup because you're knocking your body into the character, which you can't do from far away like this. And that's certain modifications that I do to some of the moves to make them close proximity when necessary. Aside from that, a recent change. God, I wish I could fully like control the stance change for Guts. You can see it there though. That's his stance change. That's his battle stance, and then he has his normal stance, which is this. The thing with Guts, which makes Guts slightly different from Cloud, is he has a weapon draw. Cloud doesn't have a weapon draw. He always has his weapon out here, but he still for his stance change, he's still a lot faster in his battle stance. But for Guts, what helps for him for his stance change is that he has no weapon draw when he's already in the stance. So for instance, when he's in this stance already, certain moves, let's see if I can do one like that. Certain moves like that don't have the weapon draw. He just swings his weapon from the stance, which removes a lot of startup from the attack. Opposing to just a normal press here, which is that. As you can see there, he has to draw the weapon first. I'll do it again. See the animation of him pulling the weapon from his back? That's removed when you just press it from the battle stance, which I'm going to show here. See? He just goes straight into the attack. Which is, yeah, that's just a little, it's complex, but it's just a little minute thing that you won't notice that I've integrated into my work here. With that being said, that you can see it with your eyes here. The sprite work for all of my characters, they're 2K. These are high, these are true, actual HD resolution Mugen characters. They're like my characters are gigs a piece because the art is so complex here. Um, which is something that's not being done in modern day. Also, again, everyone is downloading these horrible looking JUS sprited characters. My mind is boggled. Aside from that, the idle animations, which you can see here, the characters. If you do, like for Guts, for instance, see Guts is staring at the opponent, but if you sit in his idle for a really long time, his idle actually he gets bored because that's what I think he would do in a manga. I think he'd get bored, and he actually changes his idle according to how much time has passed by. So if you, well, I'll let Guts stand still there, and we'll just sit here and look at Guts. While he's doing that, let's focus on Cloud until he transitions over to his board animation. But for Cloud on the left there, if you look closely, his taunt, he has a randomized taunt. See, he says different things. He says it always ends the same way. For one of the randomized taunts, he says you're weak. There's the command list which populates if you do the taunt for the character, and then you wait. You have to wait a certain amount of time for it to pop up. Okay, Guts is bored. See there on the right? When Guts gets bored, he just stares off in his face. It's kind of funny looking, but when Guts gets bored, he just like he becomes unamused. And there you go. There's another board animation there. He'll completely stop looking at the opponent. He's just completely distracted. I think that's so awesome, man. To have like those little idiosyncrasies in the animations there. It adds so much complexity to the characters. Um. The taunt for the standing taunt, as you see for Cloud, it randomizes. He said it always ends the same way. It can go to him saying weak, and also you can taunt while crouching. See, which is something that's not in other moving games. That's a I think I pioneered that. But yeah, you can taunt while standing and crouching now, which is that's pretty insane. So I got 100% asymmetrical characters, full actual HD resolution sprites, the ability to taunt while standing and crouching, randomized animations for the characters' idols when they get bored. You got stance changes as you can see here. My characters also have the ability to charge, as you can see there. It's basically his limit break charge animation. But as you can see there, you can manually charge your meter there. My completely remade screen pack here, which is just out of the way. See the life bars on the top left and right of the screen, and the energy meters. They're completely out of the way. They're like barely noticeable, which is what I wanted. It's so awesome. Uh, okay, asymmetrical, HD, the idle animations. For Cloud specifically, a recent tweak that I made to him was his run animation. So As you can probably tell, all of my characters have dash. They have dash back and dash forward animations. As you can see there, I just showcased for both, and they also have a run animation, so you have the ability to run too. And as you can see here for Cloud's run animation, I completely reworked it. See, he has way more of a lean forward for his run animation. It just gives a stronger indication of speed, makes him look a lot faster there. And for the dash and the run animations, Cloud has dashing attacks. So if I do forward and then the attack, as you can see there, he's got a completely new attack animation there. And the same applies to his kick. As you can see there, he's got a jumping knee. This is his normal knee attack, which actually is makes it close proximity, which is a knee to the crotch when up close. But for his dashing knee, it looks like this, which is like a jumping knee attack, which is crazy. Same applies to his punch. That's his light punch. Here's his close proximity, and then he has a dashing light punch, which is pretty crazy. And then it links into, as you can see there, and there it links in with the rest of his move list, which is pretty crazy. Trying to cover all the recent things. I know for a fact that's a recent thing though. That right there for his dash, he leans in for his dash now. He looks way faster. It looks a lot more cooler. I know for his charge animation. Let's get this out of the way. Oh yeah, for sword attacks are unblockable and they have blood effects. But the thing about sword attacks is they're that's really the thing that stands out. They take off a meter. They're unblockable attacks. The only unblockables in the game are the ones where the character uses a sword attack. I'll do one with guts, as you can see there, and it has a blood effect. And also, I'll do the other one too. Different blood effect. And so the sword attacks are unblockable. They're the only thing that drains your meter outside of hypers. And yeah, I think that's the most outstanding thing. They're unblockable and they drain the meter. The thing with Cloud, I'm trying to think here. I know I overhauled his run. Oh, the charging. So for Cloud's charging, he has it. He's better animated. I completely redid his sprites for his charge, his magic meter charge to make it look like he's vibrating. As you see there, it's a lot more visceral, a lot more. You can see it there. He's got more of a shake to him. I thought that was a really cool thing to add in here. But yeah, these are both of my 2D characters here. My HD, fully asymmetrical Mugen characters that I'm working on. Um, Trying to think what I want to tweak. Something that I'm tweaking right now or that I'm working on. I've been working on my Afro Samurai. I literally just completed all of his sprites. I had to do his headband, and I had to actually do some reduction on the headband because I made the headband too thick. So I had to go through there's thousands of sprites for my Afro, but I had to go through and tweak all of my sprites for my Afro, and now I can, I've recently started adding him into the character with Fighter Factory. So now I should be showcasing Afro videos pretty soon here, which is I'm looking forward to. My guts still needs work. And this is crazy, man. I made the first. This is the first actual hand drawn. This is the first fully completed Cloud Strife from Mugen. The most popular one for the Mugen program is it's a Hayato edit. It's Hayato from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 with the wig on, and nobody's pointing it out. It's blowing my mind. I'm like staggered. But I'm actually the first person to actually make a full HD hand drawn Cloud Strife from Mugen. And as you can see here, it's a freaking masterpiece, man. Look at that. It's insane, man. This is really insane. Look at the complexity on this character, man. Oh, I'm glad I did that. Another thing I need to point out is I have battle damage states. So if a character's hurt, as you can see there, Guts is holding his arm, he goes into a completely different idol. And it also applies to when they take a lot of damage too. So when his life is really low, he goes into another idol too. I'll try my best to see if I can get into it. Let's try a full combo. Ugh. Let's do that over. Let's back up here. Is he in it? Yeah, he's in it. Awesome. I was trying to do this. So cool. Alright, but yeah, there's his other stance there. As you can see there, all of my characters have battle damage states that they go into, which it just completely, I think it's more complex. It's a lot more cool. Another thing I want to show off too is my characters have head tracking. Head tracking is when you look at the opponent If you look at Cloud there, I'm just gonna jump with Guts. Look at Cloud's head. See it? Yeah, my character's head tracking. I'm gonna just duck with Guts. See his head? See it? He's looking down at Guts. Pretty crazy. And it's not just applicable to that too. I'm gonna crouch with Cloud. Look at Cloud's head while he's crouching. See his head? He's looking up at the opponent. Now I'm gonna crouch with Guts. Watch his head. See him? He's looking straight. Now I'm up. Now I'm down. So yeah, there's full head tracking on the characters, which is something I've always found weird in 2D fighters too. I don't understand why they don't make their own head tracking. It's just there's a lot of bells and whistles to my characters, and yeah, I just showcased a couple new things, which this new charge animation adds more of a rock to it, his new run animation, and also just other minute tweaks that I've made to my characters. I'm about to begin plugging in my Afro Samurai into this game via Fighter Factory, and I'm also really I gotta tweak Guts. I think Guts could use some work for his for Puck. Puck could use some work. See Puck could definitely use some work, man. Like he could be better animated. See him disappear for the battle damage state. That's because I didn't code it in so that Puck shows up for the battle damage state. Little things like that I could tweak. But yeah, I think that's it. God bless.